The light beyond the bridge. Valerie stood at the edge of the old bridge and looked down at the river below. The water moved quickly, carrying leaves and branches away from the small town where she had lived her entire life. Every morning on her way to school, she crossed this bridge. It reminded her that life never stopped moving, even when she wanted it to. At 16, Valerie had a dream that seemed impossible. She wanted to become a doctor. For most teenagers, that dream might have sounded difficult but achievable. For Valerie, it felt almost unreachable. 2 years earlier, her father had been seriously injured in a factory accident. He survived, but he could no longer work. Suddenly, the family's financial situation changed completely. Her mother began working long hours in a bakery, and Valerie started helping after school by delivering bread around town. Many evenings, while her classmates attended private courses or studied quietly at home, Valerie rode her bicycle through the streets carrying bags of fresh bread. By the time she returned home, she was exhausted. One rainy evening, she arrived home and found her mother sitting at the kitchen table staring at a stack of unpaid bills. "We'll manage somehow," her mother said with a tired smile. Valerie nodded, but deep inside she felt afraid. How could she ever become a doctor when her family struggled to pay for basic necessities? That night, she lay awake listening to the rain hitting the roof. For the first time, she considered giving up her dream. The next day at school, her biology teacher, Mr. White, noticed that she seemed distracted. "Is everything okay, Valerie?" he asked after class. She hesitated before answering. "I don't think I can continue chasing my dream," she admitted quietly. Mr. White listened carefully as she explained her family's situation. When she finished, he smiled gently. "Do you know what the strongest people have in common?" he asked. Valerie shook her head. "They keep walking even when the road becomes difficult." His words stayed with her. That afternoon, instead of feeling sorry for herself, Valerie visited the local library. It was a small building with old wooden shelves and dusty books. She borrowed every science book she could find. If she could not afford expensive courses, she would teach herself. The months that followed were some of the hardest of her life. She woke up at 5 every morning to study before school. After classes, she delivered bread. At night, she reviewed biology, chemistry, and mathematics until her eyes burned with exhaustion. Sometimes she wanted to quit. Sometimes she cried when nobody could see her. But every time she felt discouraged, she remembered her father's face. One evening, while helping him in the garden, he noticed how tired she looked. "You work too hard," he said. "I'm trying," Valerie replied. Her father smiled. "When I was young, I thought success belonged to lucky people. Now I know it belongs to those who refuse to stop." Those words became her motivation. Months turned into years. Gradually, her grades improved. Then they improved even more. One day, during her final year of high school, an announcement appeared on the school's notice board. A national organization was offering full scholarships to students from low-income families who demonstrated exceptional academic performance. Valerie's heart raced. This could change everything. She spent weeks preparing her application. She wrote essays, collected recommendations, and attended interviews. Then came the waiting. The longest month of her life felt endless. Every day she checked her email. Every day there was nothing. Then, one bright spring afternoon, she received a message. Her hands shook as she opened it. "Congratulations!" She read the word again and again. She had been selected. Not only had she won the scholarship, but she had also been accepted into one of the country's best medical schools. Tears filled her eyes. For a moment, she could not breathe. All the early mornings, all the exhaustion, all the doubts and fears suddenly felt worthwhile. That evening, she walked to the old bridge. The river still flowed beneath it, just as it had for years. But something inside her had changed. She realized that hardship had not been her enemy. It had been her teacher. The struggles had taught her patience. The difficulties had taught her strength. The failures and disappointments had taught her resilience. As the sun began to set, golden light spread across the water. Valerie smiled. She knew that new challenges would come. Medical school would not be easy. Life would continue to test her. But she was no longer afraid, because she had learned something more valuable than success itself. Dreams are not achieved by people who never face obstacles. They are achieved by people who continue moving forward, one step at a time, even when the journey seems impossible. And sometimes the hardest roads lead to the most beautiful destinations.